Hello everyone and welcome back to the next part of the Cards and Castles video series. But this time we are going to be taking a look at the trailer that's just dropped for Cards and Castles 2, in which there is a single piece of information which is totally going to change the game. And it's not the number 2 after the name Cards and Castles. It is something very, very cool that I'm very happy to know about, and other people don't seem to be talking about it too much. So we're going to find it out, and we're just going to see through the trailer, see what we think, pick up on things, pick out some things that we think look really cool, and that's what we'll be doing. First I want to say, when it comes to Cards and Castles 2, compared to Cards and Castles, I'm a little bit hesitant at first. I do like the idea that they're switching to a game that you buy rather than a free game that you buy an infinite amount of card packs for if you want a full set. I think that's a good move. However, I'm a bit hesitant about the change in mechanics to make it more, I guess, complicated than it currently is. In terms of, like, in Cards and Castles, the numbers are just on the screen. It's just, it has 4 attack. It does 4 damage to all the things. Easy. Whereas now it's going to be like, oh, it does like this amount, and if you attack from the side, you get like a 25% bonus. That's what it looks like anyway, which is good, but also it's harder to work out like the fine tuning of like, oh, if I attack this here, then this will have enough damage to kill that, and I can do this. But I haven't been playing in the beta at all, so maybe there is a way to see that and understand that, so we'll have to wait and see. But anyway, let's head on to the trailer. We're going to watch it through once first and just talk over it as it's going, and then we will come back and pick some things out that I think are particularly interesting. So first things, the art just looks a lot clearer. Everything looks more of a delight to look at, whereas I feel like, I guess in the current game, it was designed on older technology, so it struggled a bit. And I'm enjoying some of those new special effects a lot. The explosions look great. I'm glad they seem to be sticking with the same font, which I just really like the font from that game. Happy to see the voice acting. Looking forward to that. Squirrels are good. More squirrels. I'm definitely going to make some kind of nature-based deck for sure. This looks way tidier and actually usable. The deck builder looks very similar. Got replays like normal, so a Cards TV kind of thing. Look at those rats. Those rats look very cute in comparison to how they currently are in their weird hooded cultist robes. And there we have it. So things that I want to pick out. Firstly, like I said, these explosions look beautiful. And it's really cool that it's like a proper arty explosion rather than like a, oh, damage here. So that looks good. I'm liking the different environments as well. So here we have it taking place on a pirate ship. Although I guess that kind of looks a bit weird because you can see their castle in the bottom corner. So why are they battling like this on a pirate ship when their castle is, how big is this ship? But maybe it's more like Yu-Gi-Oh, where people turn up and they're like, oh, you're a threat, let's challenge you. And then they both put down their castle and they draw their cards, and then they have their mana tower and they like play out monsters on the battlefield. But we'll find out. Otherwise, this shot is very weird and this map is very strange to have that. But I guess the castle's always been the same size as the people, so it's just always been like that. Yeah, it's just kind of weird. I'm really liking the look of this campaign map. It's got some cool, just cool imagery on it as well. Like, they've really gone into effort of it. It is 48 scenarios, which is pretty good. I imagine they'll probably do expansions which have more campaign story. But that seems like a really good way to teach people the game and get them into it, and also gives people the opportunity to play more chill, you know? You just play against the computer and then it's easy. I don't know how the card progression stuff will work, so when you start playing, I imagine you don't have all the cards in the game. Maybe you have to do their campaign and you unlock them through the campaign, which is a really good way to teach people how they can, like, you know, learn a set of cards first, which just say like, oh, it has like 100 attack, cool, easy. And then later on they can add in cards and be like, hey, there's this cool ability that this enemy has where they can, you know, fear things away. Here's how fear works. And then once you complete the mission, they can give you those cards that you can then include in your deck if you want to. That's a really good way of teaching people a game which has such a kind of high complexity to it, which by the looks of it, this game is going to have that. It's not going to be something that you can just turn up and play, you know, a competitive game not too late. Whereas I guess Cards and Castles is kind of like that. Yeah, you have to learn how Chain Lightning works and maybe how Knockback works, and then those strange interactions of when bleed triggers. But for the most part, it's pretty easy, and once you see it once, you just figure it out. Whereas here, I think there's going to be a bit more complicated stuff going on. So here we have a shot of a list of decks that someone has, which I quite like. The difficulty I've always found with Cards and Castles is you see people that have like 100 decks, and I think that that's kind of like, of course they would have 100 decks. So I really hope they have some kind of way that you can favorite certain decks, or maybe you can organize them a bit more, because I want to have a deck for every single type of deck that exists. So if you take, for example, Cards and Castles, you have red, yellow, which could be, it could be no interaction, it could be last will, and there's a few other things it could be as well. You could just be playing like global spam. There's a few options, so it's nice if you can, you know, that's 4 decks for just 2 of the color combinations. And here we can see it looks like there's going to be a new necromancy faction in a grey, dark grey kind of thing. So that's even more possibilities of decks. So I really hope there is a little bit more organization than just this, where they're on a screen. Although looking here, it's not done alphabetically, so I'm not sure how they're sorted. And we can't see any way that you can change the sorting arrangement of them, but we'll have to find out. Hopefully that's something they do a good job of. And here it is. Here is the best thing that is coming to Cards and Castles 2. We look around the screen, what do we got? Hide unowned. I mean, that's pretty good. Type, faction, sorting. Hopefully the sorting is a little bit better. I do wish there were more cards on the screen at once. Once you know what the cards are, having to scan from left to right through them in these huge tiles on your screen is not great. It would be great if there were 2 or 3 rows. With other card games, you know, you just learn what the card does. You learn that Professor does this thing, and now you just have to see the image and the red border of the card, and you're like, oh yeah, I know what that card does. So hopefully there's a way that they'll add that so you can toggle the layout, because it just makes it so much easier to build a deck when you can see the 30 options in front of you rather than the 4 on the screen at the moment, and then you have to scroll and look some more and wait, and then look at more some wait. What else do we have on here? Export a deck, kind of cool. Manage your decks, save your decks. But, you know, I was kind of cheating here. It's actually behind this title card, so let's get rid of that. And it is, of course, not the 18 mana, although that is interesting that, you know, I guess mana is kind of a fixed amount that you'll get throughout the game, depending on how long the game goes. So if you know that your deck has 40 cards and it's got 40 mana, probably not sustainable. But we'll have to see how people deal with that mana. And if you're not using the mana at all, then you probably should, because it's a resource you have available, and if you don't take advantage of it, you're probably not playing particularly optimally. But no, the most important thing here, 24 out of 40 cards. Finally, we go back to a 40 card deck. I don't remember the history on Cards and Castles. At some point, it was definitely less than 50. I think it might have been like 30, and you could only have 2 of each card at one point. Or maybe it was 40, and you could have 3 of each card. But for some reason, they made it 50. And I don't know many other games at all ever that are competitive card games that put 50 in a deck, because it's just too much. So I'm very happy that it's going back to 40. That means you can hopefully combo properly. You can, you know, if you want to play a deck that focuses around one card, your chance of drawing that card have just shot up from when it was 3 and 50 to 3 and 40. And by the sounds of it, they are going to add more ways to be able to pull the card you want from your deck as well. Currently, I don't think there is anything that does that at all in Cards and Castles. There's nothing that's like, you know, pull the topmost soldier from your deck or anything like that. So if they add that in, we're going to get into a really good level of consistency with decks. So your combo can happen if you want it to, and you can build a deck that will actually trigger around maybe just 2 cards having some kind of combo between them amongst all your other cards. But that is super exciting because it's just going to step up the level of gameplay and of strategy and of competition, because now it's a case of who has built the best deck and played it well, rather than, as we've seen if you've watched a lot of Cards and Castles when Red Master's done that series, Casting Conflicts, you'll see a lot of the time, not a lot of the time, but a good chunk of the time, you're like, oh, you know, they got all high cards in their hand, unlucky for them. Or, oh, they just didn't draw into their combo, oh, what a shame. Or, for example, Red Master will do some videos where he shows you a deck and he's like, look at this cool combo you can do and here's how we're going to do it. And then he goes into a couple of games and maybe one of them he finds the combo, but the other 2, it just doesn't come up, because 50 cards is just too many, especially when you don't have any way to tutor for cards from your deck, and the amount of card draw in the game is reasonably limited. So hopefully this is going to be a lot more interesting, and I'm very much looking forward to it. And that's kind of it. I haven't been following it too much, the Cards and Castles 2 hype, but I am definitely going to get Cards and Castles 2. If you also want to get it, you should hop onto Steam already and wishlist it, because developers love it when you wishlist their stuff. It helps them get the kind of promotion and stuff and let people know about it. So definitely worth doing that. That's how you can support Cards and Castles 2 already. And then when it's out, obviously you can buy it. But yeah, very excited for this game. Excited to see how the campaign mode is going to work out. It's not a huge part of the game. I imagine a ridiculous amount of my time will be spent on multiplayer and all of that stuff. But it's nice to have that campaign there just for a bit of interest, a bit of story, kind of see what the lore is of the world and understand what's going on a little bit more. But yes, I'm very excited for Cards and Castles 2, and hopefully you are too. If you are, what is the most exciting thing that you are looking forward to in Cards and Castles 2? I've told you mine. It's the 40 card deck. It's a weird thing to be like, that's what I want the most, but we all have our individual favorites. So let me know. And if you like this kind of stuff, and if you're looking forward to and want to see more Cards and Castles and Cards and Castles 2 content, then make sure you subscribe as well and like the video so that more people see it, and so that if you're subscribed, you'll see those videos when they start coming out. So I'm looking forward to it, and I will see you guys in the next one.